Hi, everyone, and welcome to week 3 of piano. Just a really quick recap. In the first week, I showed you how to hold your hands so that they've got this nice snowball in them. Make sure that you have a nice straight wrist. You don't want weird zombie hands, and you don't want weird other zombie hands like this, okay? Because that's bad for the nerves and muscles in your wrist. So you want to keep everything nice and loose, your wrists kind of wobbly, so you can like do one of these kind of thing for a moment. And then just curve those fingers. Hold that snowball, find that. You can just turn your fingers over and there you go. All right, now, a lot of times when we play multiple notes, we actually push with our arms and we take advantage of that weight. So we don't have to try to time our fingers moving at the same time. So if I do my outer fingers and I'm in C position, so all that means is that these two black keys, the one in the middle and then over one, that's C. We'll get into our doghouse and everything a little bit later, probably next week, in fact, when we start learning out of our book. But all you need to know is find the two black keys. It kind of looks like a doghouse here. And inside the doghouse lives the dog, and the cat loves to torment the dog. So the cat is always found right by the dog. Okay? All right. So if I play the outer notes from my fingers being on C, I'm actually using my arm to push down rather than my fingers. I mean, that's really hard, and I'm missing wrong notes up here and everything. So if you've been exploring and experimenting on your keyboard and you're having a really tough time playing notes at the same time on one hand, then use your arm. And if you haven't even tried it yet, that's totally okay as well. All right, so one thing I showed you that very first week was just 5 fingers going up and down. Now I played mine really fast, so I'm going to slow down. I'm just kind of giving you an idea of what we're doing. Also, you don't want your fingers like way up here like this. Yeah, I didn't even try to play those notes wrong, but if you take your fingers too far off of the piano, it's really hard to find them. If you flatten your fingers, it's really hard to play. So again, just snowball and take your time. So if I do my left hand, you can do it with me now. Here we go. Now you might notice I've got my fingers pretty high up the keys, because if I try to have them like this, then my wrist actually gets all turned and wonky. So I want a nice, just relaxed wrist. They will actually kind of be coming in at an angle, and that makes your thumb even shorter. Like you thought your thumb was too short already, coming in at an angle. Now it's even shorter than the pinky, and that's why I've got my fingers up so high, so that I can get my thumb on the keys without doing weird stuff with the rest of my hand. Okay, so let's try both hands, starting with the thumb, going out to the pinky, and then coming back in. Here we go. 2, here we go. 2, 3, 4. Easy schmeezy. Okay, challenge time. Can you play the same note? So the 2 C's, the D's, E's, F's, and G's. So we're going not inwards and outwards, but in the same direction with both hands. It is a challenge. If you can't quite do it, that's fine. But realize that the only finger that plays the same is going to be your middle finger. Try it. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Yay! Okay, take as much time as you need, and if it's hard to play at the same time, you can even try this. And I'm kind of holding them until my other hand's in place, but I don't even need to do that. I could go. Okay, so again, more ideas for you continuously exploring and enjoying your instrument. All right, last week I posted a rhythm exercise and game that you can play online. So what we're going to do now for this week primarily is use those same rhythms. Now I've got the Latin music link up, and I've included it on your assignment this week so that you can easily click on here. And these are the only 3 rhythms that are being used: the quarter note, or the ta, which gets 1 beat and 1 sound; the tt, or the 2 eighth notes that together get 1 beat. So it'd be like ta, ta, ta for the first one, and for the tt, t, 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 t. So 2 sounds for every beat that I'm snapping. And then finally, this little squiggly line. Now that squiggly line is 1 beat of silence. It still gets space, it still gets a time, but there's no sound. So if I was to literally treat this as a groove and snap the beat, but say the rhythm, it would go like this: ta, ti, ti, and then I'm done. Okay. Now the cards down below, the trick this week is to use 1 or more of those rhythms with a scale or a melody, or even just, those are all 5 fingers right there. You could do that. So use that on your keyboard this week. So if I look at the very first one, and I've got T, 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 T. That's actually one of the hardest rhythms because there's no pause. So you just have to make sure that you stop after 8 of them. But if I was to use that rhythm to play my scale with, I could do this. I'm going to do a right-handed scale. So T, 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 T. And that was 4. T, 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 T. Now, it's hard to keep track of the T's. And for that reason, we're going to use a numbering system mostly when we're in this class. So I'm going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And it's because there's 4 sets of these eighth notes right here. They're even holding hands right here just so that you know that they're linked together. So 4 sets, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that's easier for me to keep track of when I'm playing. Check it out. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm done. If I play that pattern over and over and over, counting, and now I'm going to mix up my scale notes and play them out of order, then it would look something like this. Perhaps yours might look different. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Aha! And I want to stop. I want to pause. I want to give my brain time to process. So that's another reason that rhythm is challenging. And so these flashcards make it as the first one. But if we keep on going, and I'm actually going to scroll down because there's lots you can do with this. What if I did these 3? I'm only going to focus on them. And that looks, it's just a couple of down, that far down the flashcards. So if I said these rhythms with tas and tts, it would look like this. Here I go. Ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. And it's important that I give my tas enough space and my tts feel like they move twice as fast because there's 2 times as many of them between the beats. So here's the beginning of the beat right there. And then here's the next beat. And there's 2 of them in between. So ti, ti, ta, ta. All right. And I just tried straight through there. Why don't you try it with me this time? Okay, just saying you can go ahead and tap something. You can hit a note on the piano. You can even hit a bunch of notes. You can hit all 8 notes with both hands if you want. You want to feel the beat, okay? So I'm going to point, however, so you know where we're at. 1, 2, and here we go. Ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. Yay! If you want to, you can even just focus in on one card and play it. Ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ta. Over and over. And now that you know the rhythm, so I'm just going to use the 3 of them. So you can use one at a time for as long as you want. But I'm going to take all 3 of them and kind of move ahead and play them now on the piano. Okay, you'll no longer be able to see the cards because I want you to see my fingers, but there they are. Alrighty. So right hand first. Most people are right-handed. Most people like to start with the right hand. If you are left-handed and want to start with the left, that's okay as well. I'm just going to start with the right. even though I'm left-handed. Here we go. 1, 2, here I go. Ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. And that's all of my cards. And I just went up and down and up and down. But if I mix it around and kind of make a little melody out of it, I could try something like this. Ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. Okay. And the important thing is that you keep your fingers moving. If you're struggling with this, just take one finger. Ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. And you'll get it. And then do 2 fingers. Ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. Okay, so you don't need to take all 5 all at once. Now, if you combine it with your left hand, I'm going to do this idea of using my outside notes, the shell, if you will, of the chord. We'll talk about chords later, but the shell, I'm using my outside fingers. And I'm just going to hit it every time I hit beat 1 of the card, okay? So if I was doing the same card over and over, I would play my left hand here and just hold it through, and then hit it again and hold it through again. And since I'm doing all 3 cards, I'm going to go left hand, left hand, left hand, kind of like that, while my right hand plays. So it'll look a little something like this. Just like that. And now that almost sounds like a song, and I just made that up. Okay, I use those rhythms, but I just randomly pushed notes. Okay, again, if you're struggling with the coordination, the 2 hands playing together like that, slow it down. First and foremost, give yourself time to learn. And you will if you give yourself time to do it. And then start with maybe 1 finger or 2. So if I start with, let's do my pointer finger. Kind of a neat sound right there. If I wanted to do my ring, it's a little more tense, but that's okay. That's something that you'll learn as you're playing. You'll just realize that some sounds sound a little bit more pleasing than other sounds. And even those sounds that aren't quite pleasing, they give us the tension we want to be able to resolve. Ah, pretty. Okay, so music's like this. It's like an animal. It's always changing. Sometimes it has good moods. Sometimes it has bad moods. And if you have a little dog who is in a bad mood, this one's not. She's just hanging out here. But if you had a little dog that was in a bad mood, you'd want to sit there and figure out why and make the dog feel better. So that's kind of what we do in music. We figure out why. And the reason why is because I've got a G, that's what this letter is, and an F. And when you play 2 notes in the alphabet that are right next to each other, they always sound a little edgy. Ooh. Ooh. And then how I fix that, for my pup dog, I just cuddle her. But for the music, I just move away a little farther. Okay, so if I move this G, if it was up here, it's a little farther away. The F wasn't. And then the D has a bit of an interesting sound when I play it with the C. And so I can just move it away, all right? So that kind of emotion and feeling in music is something that I'll mention here and there, but you'll definitely notice it as we go out throughout this semester. You'll get to hear the musicality of music and why it's so attractive to people. It's fun to push buttons, but when you can really influence the sound, that's what really makes it cool. Okay, I got slightly off topic, but let's move back on. So I'm going to play these shells, and I'm going to just use 2 notes right here. I'm going to do these 2 because they're easy to play. And I'm going to do all 3 cards. 1, 2, here I go. Oh, so I messed up. I forgot to hold my hand down. That's okay. I should have just kept on going, but I wanted you to see why I stopped. Okay, but you keep on going. 1, 2, here's the beginning. And that might be a little bit fast. I just started my pointer and switched every single time I hit it. That's something you could easily do with me, so you know your rhythm's right. But if I did go too fast, just slow the video down. And on a laptop, there's a gear shift in the bottom right-hand corner down here that you click on it and it shows you speed settings. So you could slow it or speed it down, slow it down or speed it up. On a phone, it's in the top right-hand corner. There's 3 little dots. If you click on those, you'll be able to find the speed setting. All right, so now, I mean, I could play around with this till the cows come home. I mean, I could do my left hand now and do something like this. I can add my right hand. Oh, coordination. I can even pulse this hand. Ooh, I can even mix the rhythm between the 2 hands. And that sounds a little bit more interesting. But then if I add chords, so I'll just show you above and beyond what's possible with the switching between 2 hands. So I could do something like, okay, and I added a note there at the end on beat 1. I could, well, I'm gonna stick with the shell. So I just pulse this every beat. So ta, ta, for example. I'm gonna forget about that hand. This is hard. If you really want to challenge, try this one, okay? So just pulse one of your hands, usually the left hand, and play the rhythm on different notes with the right. Ha! That's a lot to think about. So tell you what, I'm gonna play the rhythm on just 1 note while my left hand pulses, okay? 1, 2, here I go. Ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. And look at my hands. You can, hard time seeing the wrist, but my whole arm is moving up and down for this hand. And even my wrist is a little bit flexible. I'm not like doing this weird thing, but I'm just using 1 finger here. So it's even a different motion in your arms. So if you're struggling with this, don't give up because that's hard. Your hands are doing 2 completely different things. But if you're ready, I wanted to show you that step. And even if you're not ready, I want to show you what's possible here soon for you. Because one day this motion will just click and you'll be like, whoa, I can do it. How'd that work? And it's because you were trying. All right, now I'm going to mix it up with different fingers. So 1, 2, here I go. And that's your goal this week, is to just find 1 or more cards. And I've pretty much exhausted those 3 cards to death. I mean, I could keep on going and check out all these other cards. Oh, I didn't even get to the rest. Okay, we'll do rests real quick. So if I'm seeing this, there's no sound being made for that. So tell you what, I'll do this bottom card because I'm playing before and after, so you can really hear that rest. So this one down here, it would be T, 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 ta. So T, 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 ta. And we'd be playing like this. 2, here I go. That's the sound. A lot of times people will want to hold that over and make it sound like this. But that's not what's written there. We want absolute silence there. I'm going to say shh, just so you know where it's at. So T, T, shh, T, T, ta, like that. Okay. So the rest in there, that's a lot of fun because it tricks you and it's sneaky and you need to make sure that you don't play. So if I did all 3 of these cards with my melody hand or my right hand, it would sound like this. 1, 2, here I go. Shh. Just like that. Okay. So just another new rhythm in there. You can keep on going and have fun. Ooh, double time. This is when it really helps to feel the sh, or even to say outside, to say out loud, shh, like that. So if I did the middle card, ta, sh, sh, ti, ti, for example, okay? That's a tricky card, but it's a really fun one. So is the one below it. They're just reversed. So there's a lot of ways you can play around with these cards. I've shown you how to combine the piano and the cards, but if you're having fun with this and you even want to challenge a sibling or even a parent, that would be fun to see who can clap the most number of cards without stopping. You can even put on a little bit of music, and I don't have a music loaded right now, but if I push my, I mean, there's a beat, but if I actually get a song going, let's see, and I play, I don't know, spin the dial. Okay. Oh, so pretty. How about 1 and 4? Okay, that's a little slow for my taste. Jet set. Here we go. 1, 2. There's the beat. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Here's my beat. T T T T T T T T T T T T T T ta. T T T T ta. T T. Ah! Here I go. T T ta. T T T T ta. T T T T T T ta. Ta ta. T T ta. Ta. T T ta. I think you get the idea. If I can even play it on the piano. 2. Here I go. Ta. T. Oh. Well, you can't hear me play it, but anyway, I could play it on the piano. My settings aren't correct on this keyboard. But that's how you could do it. So, again, lots of ideas. You don't have to do all of that this week. That was a lot that I gave you. But if you can do any of it, even a small bit, even if you're just still at this point where you're really trying to make the snowball, turn your hand over and just get your fingers even in the same spot as far as the low finger, high, next, next, next. Even if you're still at that stage, that's okay. Just move at the speed that you need to move at, all right? Okay, guys, I will return next week and have fun exploring the keyboard in the meantime. This is your opening to actually reading music before you play. And the good news is there's no way you can hit a wrong note. Hit whatever note you want. As long as the rhythm's there, you'll nail it. Next week when we start the book, we'll actually start playing with rhythms and specific notes together. So have fun in the meantime, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.